Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you for all the comments from the public this morning.
Okay, we have His Highness report here. His Royal Highness from Canada will now give us His Royal Highness report. All hail the King. All hail the King. All hail the King. Okay, hold on. All right. Let's go.
Morning, and as well as the updates from the other board members. Just a couple of comments. Just a reminder on the equity lens. We'll actually be talking about that a bit with John Gardner, I think, a little bit later. So stay tuned for that. There's been a lot of work done on that. Of course, a lot more to come. So it's just bridging from what Director Gonzalez was mentioning in the TIAC update. So to cover three key points today, or key topics. The first one, to me, and the most important one of the moment is, or as Tristan said from Bus Riders Union, wow, we really live in a different time, and it's really fast, not only for the community, it's fast for us as well. So I really would like to speak about the transit police and reallocations and a bit of information around the process that comes with that that's going to be coming out very shortly. Secondly, I do want to not also forget the importance of COVID and some steps that are underway there. And finally, I'm going to give a brief update on ridership. I think most people know where that sits, but I do want to, as part of each of these updates, want to commit to giving an update on that. So firstly, I do want to take a moment and talk about the decision to reallocate some funding for our transit police division. And it is showing up later as the specific part of the $1.6 billion budget resolution, but I want to pull this out now and just kind of set the frame here. I think a few points I would make here. First, I think most people know this, but some people are maybe listening at home that haven't captured this. This agency, we really do want to acknowledge what's happening in the community in light of the senseless acts from George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Adiana of Jefferson, Ahmaud Arbery, and now Rayshad Brooks. This tragic and sad list goes on, and it has to stop. And we want to be part of the solution as it relates to specifics in this community as well. We know these injustices against the African-American neighbors and our community members and family and friends has gone on far too long in a country this great, and it should never happen. So I know there is systemic racism here, and the raw emotion, the heartbreak, the pain that's gone on. I know personally, even when I did a town hall on racism just last week with Pastor Edie Mondene and Senator Margaret Carter, it was really well received internally. And I know I'm in turmoil personally as well on some of this. So I'm working through this and want to be part of the contributing to the solution of a needed positive future. So I don't think anyone escapes this. So, and I know I don't. We also hear the call from the communities to stop the racial injustice. In some cases, we're talking about policing here around changes needed in policing. There's clearly a spectrum of viewpoints as President Warner has indicated through, and we heard today, to no policing, through to keep the policing, more policing. So there is a wide spectrum of viewpoints here. TriMet last week, we announced an agency plan to reallocate $1.8 million in this coming fiscal year's budget from transit police and whatever sources are needed otherwise, and invest those funds, and particularly initially in non-policing based community services that preserve the broader public safety. If we go back to our vision, mission, and values as an agency, in our mission, it clearly articulates that we need to be welcoming for all. And policing and safety and security is an underpinning of how we create that environment to be welcome for any all. So this is an important time. And as part of these funds, we're going to engage very quickly to do community outreach. We're going to start research. This is all going to happen over the next 90 days. Let's call it by the end of September, or essentially at July now. And this will bring that information back to the board. So We're going to do formal research. We're going to have extensive outreach, probably more so than many other times we've done before. And I've asked John Gardner to lead this for this organization right now, and also for us to listen to the wide spectrum and is get a widest spectrum of perspectives as we possibly can, from churches to geographically to all different communities and interests, some we heard from today. I think this is a really important time for us to reimagine what public safety could look like on a regional transit system. And so time is of the essence, not only because it's a conversation that's needed, not just because it's the budget here today, but also, we've heard from the city of Portland, they have reduced their budget by about a policing budget by just about 6%, 6.1%. Our 1.8%, they've got a $245 million budget. We're reducing ours by greater than that 6%, 1.8 million over our 16.2 million specifically in the policing area. So we want to reallocate. We're going to put somewhere approximately $750,000 into this whole research piece. We're going to put.
Okay, what? 300? They're going to take 700,000 into a study. Is that what he just said? He's going to use 700,000 for a study. I think he just said that.
Together a bit of a blue ribbon.
Oh.
We're going to do formal research. We're going to have
see, this is bullshit.
Outreach, probably more so.
Formal is bullshit. This is just bullshit. This is what they do, man. He's going to have a committee for stuff we already know. We already know all of this, okay? This is terrible, man. This is what they do. This is the kind of deflection they do, they deflect all of this.
Than many other times we've done before. And I've asked John Gardner to lead this for this organization right now, and also for us to listen to the wide spectrum and just get a widest spectrum.
What are you talking about?
We possibly can.
This is such bullshit. This is all deflection from the issues. Okay, we don't need we already know all the issues here. Okay, if he's going to argue that some people are going to defend the police state, yeah, we already know that. The whole Trump crowd is kill them all, kill the protesters, fuck the Black Lives Matter, kill all the minorities, white power first. We don't need to hear that, okay? We have that in the White House all day long. We already know the issues here. He wants to do a study. It's bullshit. He's bullshitting you.
Geographically to all different communities and interests, some we heard from today. I think this is a really important time for us to reimagine what public safety could look like on a regional transit system. And so time is of the essence.
Time is of the essence.
Not only because it's a conversation that's needed, not just because it's the budget here today, but also, we've heard from the city of Portland, they have reduced their budget by about a policing budget by just about 6%, 6.1%. Our 1.8%, they've got a $245 million budget. We're reducing ours by greater than that 6%, 1.8 million over our 16.2 million specifically in the policing area.
They have 16.2
we want to reallocate. We're going to put.
Why are they spending $16 million on police? That 16 million should be spent on transit. Okay, the police have a responsibility to serve everybody that's going through their various districts. This is a scam, all right? This is all a scam, another government scam.
Put somewhere approximately $750,000 into this whole research piece.
Okay, yeah, so I heard that right. So $750,000 wasted on a study of shit we already know.
We're going to put together a bit of a blue ribbon committee to some experts with a spectrum of advice and insight.
The experts are why our culture is a fucking disaster today. The experts are the problem. Kelsey is the problem. Warner is the problem. Bottomley is the problem. Stovall is the problem. These people are the problem, and you expect them to solve it? It's never going to happen. This is all deflection, all of it.
Locally, and maybe some people even nationally to help advise, guide, give their perspectives as we formulate
national
new ways to look at things, including maybe pilot projects, things of that nature.
See, it's all bullshit.
I still believe personally there is a need for policing.
Of course you believe that. We've heard you. We've heard what you said. You are 100% in the police state pocket. You motherfucker, man. You're just a fucker.
We all have experience in our own life. Me too. I have witnessed many occasions through my transit life, not just here, but in other places, where people do, in fact, only a transit officer can respond who has the authority of the law. But that's sure far from everything as a police officer responding. I very much have, I think there's a tremendous opportunity instinctively, but we want to listen to the public around homelessness, mental wellness. I think there's opportunities in there that doesn't have to be a police officer. Personally, I think in some regards, we've asked too much of our police officers to do so many things out there. When in doubt, just give it to a police officer. So I think this is a moment that is a real opportunity for us to recalibrate, reallocate, and to get the right response types for the right circumstances, knowing in essence we're pretty well close to a 24/7 service, and we carry...
No, you're not a 24/7 service.
The equivalent of a large city every single day in a pre-COVID environment, about 300,000 people. And we're a reflection of of this wonderful society here. So I think there is a real opportunity through our research. We're also going to get into some deep dive analysis. We're going to look at other models. What are other people doing across the country that may be on the forefront?
How about fair free transit, you dumbass fuck? That's what you really need here. That's all you need to do, okay? And then you just use your police for crime prevention. But no, you're going to spend all this time doing deflection and nonsense studies that nobody needs because that's what you do.
As well for us to consider. So what we do need, the underpinning is research and wide spectrum of viewpoints across this really...
Oh, Jesus. I cannot watch these fucking meetings because this for me is like watching Trump. It's exactly the same. Okay? It's exactly the same for me. You're watching these people completely disconnected from any reality on the ground, talking about shit that we already know all about, and they're trying to pretend it's a different way. They're talking to us like we're idiots. We know you're lying, just like we know Trump is lying. We know you're deflecting. This is your way of delaying any kind of activity and wasting our time and effort listening to this bullshit.
Important region. So this is all going to happen, I'd say, in a complex environment over the next 90 days, which we will then bring this back to the board with the findings, the viewpoints, and ultimately a discussion on a recommendation as a way to proceed. So again, the underpinning for us is we need to be welcoming for all, which is part of our vision, mission, values, and we're committed to that. But with that, we'll be ensuring we've got a process of engagement. And I sure did take to heart, I think it was Kim Marks who was speaking from the Rosewood Initiative. If there's something we have to look at around WebEx, I know it's an international Cisco product. It's used all over the world. But if there's things we have to do to refine that, I've jotted that down, Kim, if you're listening, that we want to, as an instrument, that we may have to look at other ways to do things too. So this is just the start. But I do believe, as the general manager here, because there's a lot of human resources involved in things and contracts, I really want to take a short, medium, and careful considered long-term approach, particularly where there's
deflection delay. Deflection delay. That's what these people do. Deflect and delay. Deflect and delay. We see it over and 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 over.
Personnel, contractor, otherwise involved. There's a lot of complexities. The ship just doesn't move on a dime. So we want to make sure that whatever those adjustments.
No, it doesn't move on a dime except when you want it to move on a dime. I mean, they'll come up with money. Oh, we need a contract revision. We need an extra $10 million. Well, here it is. Here, take it. You fucking liar. Man.
And would be that we manage that in a way that ensures safety and security for everybody, even during any transition conversation. I think we.
I want to point out here that the Jeremy Christian incident happened as a result of the police state incompetence. This man had attacked a TriMet rider the day before. He slit 2 people's throats. The police state did nothing. Nothing. The police state has been a abject failure on the TriMet system. There's no defense of it whatsoever. It's been a failure, and he wants to study it. He wants the experts from around the country. You are a liar and a cheat, Kelsey, and I know it, and other people do.
We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to the community to take these steps. And I know this will be part of, this is about 1%, the policing conversation, $16 million on a $1.6 billion budget. But it's part of a really important conversation, I believe, for the region. So
see how he just
receptive to reprogramming funds and services to other community-based approaches, including things like in Eugene, Cahoots. It's an outreach model with paramedics and others. So we need to look at those kind of models and factor those in as to the best way.
We need to look at them and factor those in. You're a fucking liar and a deflecting. You're deflecting. You're just delaying.
We're responsible to, including tourism as a long-term instrument in investment of multi-billion dollars in this region. We need to make sure we provide an environment where everyone wants to come because they get to choose too for many people whether they're going to get out of their car,
you idiot.
Whether they're going to choose.
I need a drink, man. I can't listen to you without a drink.
Cycling, walking. So even though we're in a economic challenging period right now, I think we can make adjustments in a relatively reasonable period. But we do need to think about the long term around the overall public confidence that public transportation, not just security-wise.
The truth is they don't give a fuck about people on the public. They have their bond money. They have their tax money. They have their payroll tax. They don't give a fuck about ridership as other than a way for them to squeeze more tax money out of taxpayers. They do nothing for the people of Portland. Nothing. They do nothing. They don't even give the totally poor, the people without any money don't even get a free pass. They want to squeeze every penny out of everybody they can. And he's talking, he's saying nothing, he's deflecting. He's going to get the experts from around the world. This is just such garbage, man. How can anybody put up with this?
But even health-wise, that we are a serious alternative, that people feel comfortable to use us, not only for policing, but that we're clean and we're health, particularly in a COVID environment. So,
yeah, you're doing so great. All the people are being left behind. You have to use sweep buses because you haven't cut anything but bus service. Everything else is running normally, but your buses have been cut. But you're not going to talk about that, are you, Doug?
I'm going to stop here. I don't know if there's any questions board members may have about some of the steps over the next 90 days, but happy to answer them now, President Warner. If not, I'll move on to the next section, or they may come up in the budget themselves.
Yeah, I suspect there are questions. Yeah, I see Director Gonzalez. Do you want to ask your questions or make comments?
Thank you. I found that little hand button right away this time.
Thank you,
Thank you. Thank you for the overview, Manager Kelsey.
I want to pound your face.
I have a question about the Blue Ribbon Committee work. I mean, I really appreciate you saying you are receptive, demonstrating the agility to reallocate, and saying you're receptive to.
Do you see what he's saying? He's thanking Kelsey for being. So in other words, Kelsey is the supreme decision maker of TriMet. That one guy right here, this guy, he makes all the fucking decisions regarding everybody in Portland. One guy who's not even from Portland makes all the decisions for everybody in Portland. It's a disgraceful system they have here.
to exploring that further. I really appreciate you bringing up the Cahoots program in Eugene. I think it's a model really worth investigating how it could apply in our region. But I wanted to ask about the Blue Ribbon Committee.
The Blue Ribbon
I think that's a really interesting next step. It sounds like
Ribbon
something that
Committee
is closer to becoming tangible. You said that you had the potential to get minds here that might be broader than just our region. What is it? Could you say what you're looking for from that Blue Ribbon Committee, or what sort of perspectives are
he just wants to hand out money to his buddies,
together
what that's
in that
all
committee?
about.
Yeah, that's a great question. Some of this is so fresh. We're still working through that. Director.
See, he doesn't even have an answer to that. This is deflection and delay. This is deflection and delay. He can't even answer his question. What are you looking for? Well, I don't know. It's just deflection and delay is what the answer is. We have to deflect and we have to delay.
Mr. Gonzalez, but I think we want to get other perspectives nationally who've also been in perhaps public transportation. I'm going to give an example. Someone that comes to mind, just not to say this is the right person. This board has had experience with Dr. Bev Scott, who helped us on our whole.
Bev Scott, fired from MBTA. She's another disgraceful technocrat that did nothing. She's useless. She's just part of this little club of theirs. All right? She's just part of the fucking club. I mean, it's just Bev Scott. See, he's one of his pals.
Diversity and equity side is an internal review.
The diversity. How long are we going to talk about diversity and equity? We've been listening to this shit for years. Okay, you're not getting anywhere with it apparently.
A person who's been the CEO of in Atlanta and Boston. I think maybe in Sacramento as well. Really understands the people side of professional human resources at our core. And so that's that may be one type of person, but I think part of it would be a spectrum of perspectives as well. And we don't fully have that.
We don't need their perspective. If you're going to have a Blue Ribbon Committee, you should have people from the Riders, Opal, fucking Black Lives Matter, the fucking activist community, not a bunch of out of town. This is just such garbage. I can't watch. I'm sorry. I just can't watch this. I just can't take it. I cannot take it. I can't listen to these people. It's as bad as listening to Trump. And I just can't take it. I'm sorry. Got to have a drink now.